to Hot Mess Therapist, the podcast where real life meets real therapy. We're two therapists, best friends, moms, and business partners navigating the beautiful chaos of life together. As co-owners of a private practice, we help others work through relationships, parenting challenges, anxiety, stress, and all the messy parts of being human.
Each week, we'll dive into conversations about love, relationships, friendships, parenting, family dynamics, mental health, and everything in between. We'll share insights from our clinical experience, lessons from our own lives, and plenty of honest stories about the moments when even therapists don't have it all together. So, grab your coffee or a glass of wine, hide from your kids for a few minutes if you can, and join us for authentic conversations, practical advice, and a reminder that being a hot mess doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. We're so glad you're here. This is Hot Mess Therapist.
Hey, welcome back to Hot Mess Therapist. I'm Nikki.
I'm Sarah.
And we are so excited to have you listening again today. Thanks for joining us. Sarah, how excited are you? We are getting a podcast studio.
I am so excited. Not that I haven't liked being in your office here.
Right. I mean, we've made it work.
We have
right?
made it
But poor
work.
Harley hauls that giant suitcase in and out with all the equipment.
No, poor Harley.
I know. And then, like, we forget ideas because we don't have a dry erase board.
Oh my God. That's been like so for real.
I know. So, it's under construction right now. Hopefully, we will be in it for our next recording.
Yeah. That's
Unfortunately, Harley has to paint it.
Tomorrow.
Woo! So today, we left off last time chatting about breakups.
We did.
Right? We were talking about the pig story and breakups. And I think where we left off was don't get anything living or breathing, and definitely not plants. So like
not plants for us.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Other
So
people
chocolate's
plant
good.
plants. Chocolate was the perfect ending.
Perfect ending, right? And the chocolate's like the closure. Like you
Yes.
give that chocolate bar,
Yep. And we're
done.
done.
That's it.
I mean, and this is the thing about breakups. It's not that people cannot find their way back to each other, but generally when breakups happen, they're happening for a reason. Right? And so having closure isn't a thing. Let's be for real. People aren't always entitled to closure. Closure isn't something that you need to move on. It's something we tell ourselves that we need to move on, but it's not. Setting clear boundaries and identifying what it is that we need to heal for ourselves.
Yes.
And that does not actually have anything to do with the other person.
Right. I think oftentimes when I talk about relationships breaking up in sessions, say someone brings something in a relationship broke up, whatever that looks like, they're like, oh, if I could just get that closure.
Yeah.
And I often ask the question, I'm like, okay, well, what is the closure you're looking for, right? And they have this idea like we're going to have a nice conversation. We're going to talk about why there was a breakdown in the relationship. And I'll be like, wow, that's really great. So let's say you schedule a time to meet to have quote unquote closure. And the partner is just like, yeah, fuck you. I don't like you anymore.
Right.
That's not the type of closure you wanted.
No.
And you're still left feeling really jarred, disoriented. And that's why finding it within yourself.
That's right.
And setting those boundaries is actually quote-unquote closure.
That is the for real closure. A postmortem of the relationship is just a rehash of the problems you couldn't solve in the first place.
Correct. And then there, sometimes people mix up things and they're like, oh, whoops, I accidentally slept with them.
Right.
And we're like, wait.
Hold up.
That's not effective either.
No.
So that opens a whole bunch of different wounds.
It does.
Yeah. So I think boundaries are a big piece. And like you said, quote unquote closure, but it's boundaries within ourselves. Boundaries with where we want to be and kind of our goals now that the relationship is over.
That I think is really important. What, instead of trying to backtrack through, you did this, I did this, if you had just done this differently, right, we would be okay. It's more about looking at what do I need moving forward? What is it I need for me that it may or may not be relationship related?
Okay, so we can't set our wine glasses down without them making noise. I'm just going to call it out. Sorry.
I was scared the whole time to put that down.
So those of you that have heard that in previous episodes, the table that we have that on is the same thing the microphones are clipped on. We're going to solve that problem in our studio.
In our new studio.
But yes, go ahead. Yes. So setting goals we were talking about.
Right. And so when we are talking to clients or friends or family members, people who are going through a breakup, what are some of the pieces of advice that you give to maybe nurse heartache?
Yeah.
Right. To grieve. And I think that's the key, right? How do we grieve the ending?
Right. Well, and that's exactly it, grief. And I think with every relationship, grief feels different, right? So, when I went through the divorce I had with my kid's father, that was really drawn out.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Part of it was logistical for health insurance purposes, but part of it was just we weren't disconnecting. There was still that responsibilities that were set up in our relationship, so to speak. I was always more the caretaker of the kids, and those expectations. You have to start doing your own things.
That's right.
Right? And I think when you start doing that for yourself and you're no longer including that other person in your life, that makes a difference, right? So no, both parents don't have to go school clothes shopping.
Right. Yep.
One or the other can take them. One can take them for school supplies. One can take them for school clothes. Now, my breakup with my partner after the relationship I was in after my divorce, I thought my heart had been sobbed all over 42,000 times, right? And yes, that is the relationship with the pig. But there was such poor boundaries in, are we broken up? Are we not broken up? And I've joked before, Harley has said, is he coming or going, right? So not only was it confusing for me, but it was confusing for the kids.
Right.
And when that break happened, officially, I thought I was dead.
You did, and that was the grieving period. And when there is the back and forth, right? When there is the, well, maybe we'll get together. Let's have coffee and talk about it, or let's talk about what happened and find closure. When you continually do that, you are keeping a wound open.
Right.
And so for you weren't allowed to grieve the ending of that relationship. Until clear boundaries were set. Right. Until there was a contact needs to stop. And you guys could do that because there weren't shared children. Hearkening back to our previous podcast, the chocolate bar is pretty helpful if you don't have to share custody of something.
Correct. Just give me that chocolate bar.
Just give me that chocolate bar.
Go home.
It is a little different when you have to continue contact.
Correct.
This is, so when we talk about divorce or breakups when there's shared children, or occasionally what can happen is if the breakup is because of a sense of betrayal, because of an action, the grief is large, and there can be a sense of needing revenge or vengeance, and that can keep people locked.
Right.
And so neither one can heal until clear boundaries of separation happen.
Yeah, and when there's kids involved, oftentimes in those co-parenting dynamics, whatever the conflict was in the marriage is often then reflected in the co-parenting dynamics.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
I think about, and I get along just fine with my kids' dad, but in our marriage, he was always so preoccupied and couldn't keep things straight. Now, let's be real. I feel like it was undiagnosed ADHD. I have neurodivergent kids, and they did not come from me. So I'm going to say it's him. And thank you. Sorry, Jason. I know you said I could talk about you on the podcast, so I just called you out. But he does the same things even now as my kids are adults, right? And so that marital conflict of not completing the tasks I asked you to take care of is continued reminders for me to do this. Right? Or, follow through and give me the insurance cards. I shouldn't have to ask 4 times, right? So those marital conflicts can continue.
They can. And so I have to ask you, since we've been talking about this, how and when did you get to setting clear boundaries?
Yeah, absolutely. The contact definitely reduced, I would say, after our kids got more independent, right? Even more so.
Sometimes that's like the best solution.
It really is. But by the time we got divorced, right, our kids were a little older, so kind of naturally was able to happen, right? But I would say throughout that time, we started less and less communication about random things, right? Or we just didn't answer each other at other aspects when it wasn't pertinent to the children anymore.
That was it. There's the boundary, right?
Yeah. So it was like, okay, well, this isn't related to the kids, so we don't need to contact or reach out to the other parent about this, right? But also, like I said, there was a transition time where then the kids hit middle school-ish. Like, I would say 14, 15, that autonomy for kids really starts to explode.
Yes.
And they're like, I'm either choosing to not go to one parent's for a while or the other, or I'm just going to reach out to the other parent myself because I have a phone and I'm going to text them about this and ask if I can stay at Bobby's on Friday because it's their weekend, even though I'm at Dad's right now. Right. And so that was where the boundary, I think, really set in, too.
So how do you think then for couples who do have younger kids who may still be feeling a lot of grief or a lot of anger and are dealing with high conflict, but they can't set the we can't have conflict, contact boundary because they're sharing because you have kids. I mean, I know we work with a lot of families like this.
Yeah, I always recommend if you can't handle regular email or text to communicate, I'm going to give a shout out to Our Family Wizard or a third-party app like that for communication that logs the communication. Not only does it log the communication, it logs his expenses, calendar, all those things, right? But I always recommend to parents, I'm like, when you put your communication in there, make sure it's only about the kids.
Yes.
Like, Bobby has a choir concert on Thursday, the 12th, at 5 p.m. at this school. Not sure if you're aware. Right? Or here's a medical bill that needs to be paid, right? Your portion. And if you are a parent that maybe has more reactive tendencies toward the other parent because there was a betrayal or some sort of difficult breakup, taking a step back before you answer that message. So I always tell parents, give a good 24-hour turnaround time, okay? Don't expect immediate responses. Do not respond immediately. Let your nervous system and your body calm first, because sometimes just seeing their name pop on your phone
can activate you,
that, right? It
Absolutely.
just activates you. You're just all over the place. And then the other thing I say to set boundaries around it is don't let that own your life just because that message came in. Set a time every day that you're going to respond to messages. Maybe it's after the kids go to sleep, 7 o'clock p.m. at night. You're going to sit down and respond to Our Family Wizard or text her the messages about the kids to the former partner, right?
Absolutely.
Once they're responded to, you're done.
Yeah.
Right? And that's it. And do it in a space that feels calm and safe for you so your nervous system can feel relaxed. Again, make your responses only about the children, right?
And this is especially important for the high conflict cases in which perhaps your ex, your co-parent, does not have those skills themselves, and so are constantly throwing kind of nasty grams your way. It is even more important to just stick to the facts.
100%. So I think that those are big pieces and tools that people can use.
Yeah, those are really great tools.
Yeah. But we also get a lot of people who don't have kids and go through a breakup.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be super complicated. Although it feels really hard. So I want to validate that. Like, as we're talking about it, some of our own breakup stories happened a long time ago. So we might not be feeling that grief right now. But to validate that an end of a relationship, even if it is a good thing that it's ended, even if it was for the best for everyone involved, it is still a painful experience. And it is okay to hold both things to be true. And the other little caveat I want to make about breakups or endings of relationships is we tend to think that if a relationship ends, then the relationship was a failure.
Right, yeah.
And I don't believe that.
I don't believe that either.
When I think about my marriage and my divorce to my ex-husband, I do not look at that relationship as a failure, even though we chose not to continue a romantic marital relationship, because we created the two best kids in the entire world as far as both of us are concerned. And I could not have done that without him.
Right.
And we were friends. There was a friendship. There had been love shared. And just because, we ended the way that we did, for the reasons that it did, does not mean that I regret having that. And I think that is true for most relationships, even if the relationship wasn't healthy.
Right.
We at least have gained knowledge, learning, most of the time about ourselves.
Yeah, there's always messaging in that. And people change. They don't always change together.
Right.
Right? And people's goals might change. People's interests might change.
Their needs.
Their needs might change. And part of that, is communication. And it's okay to stop and say, you know what, I still care about you, or, I don't, because I can't stand you.
Right.
But I think it's best we move on. I think a lot of times people get stuck and rooted in a lot of the old theories, the Christian religious theories, that we got married, marriage is forever, or we're in a partnership, this partnership is forever. And you can be committed, but things can look different.
Absolutely.
Right?
And you should also keep in mind, marriage, as we know it today, isn't as old as people think that it is.
Yes.
And people don't live as long.
No. People got married back in the day because they got married at like 15, 16, 17 because they're dead by 23. Right? So guys, by 23, they were probably sick of each other.
Right.
But they were going to die anyway.
Right.
At that point, right? People get married now, and I will say, I think a lot of people are getting married a little bit older.
That's true.
Because my parents got married at 18. And I was young. For my first marriage, I was 22. But, none of our kids are married.
Oh, thank God.
No, my oldest stepdaughter is, and she's 25, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think, being married 80, 90 years, or living to 80 and 90 and being married 60 years.
It's a long time. And blessed people who can and do it and have a loving and healthy relationship throughout that time. Yeah. Those people have skills in allowing each other to grow and change without trying to stop that. Right?
Exactly.
But even if they grow and change at different paces, they've given room and grace for that. And that's phenomenal. My brother and my sister-in-law, they met when they were 16, married by the time they were 19 or 20, and they are still together. And I don't see that changing. They're a couple that can do that. The other piece of that, though, is just as a relationship ending isn't a failure, longevity isn't a measure of success. The invested time that you put into a relationship, there isn't a cost-benefit analysis there that says, well, man, I've been here 10, 15 years. I better stick, right? If it's not going to be beneficial or healthy for everybody else, right? In the context of that relationship. So, and it's not to say that long relationships shouldn't be valued, but only if there's quality that still exists
and
there.
And don't be afraid to reach out for help.
Yes.
The amount of couples we will see in our clinic, right? That come there or individuals that come in because their partner won't come in because they don't believe in marriage therapy, or marriage therapy is stupid, or we're not doing that.
Or couples. It doesn't have to be marriage therapy.
I know. I say marriage therapy, but couples therapy, partner therapy, even friendship therapy.
Yes.
Right? Because those are in relationships, right? And you're right. A lot of times they're so far gone.
By the time they come in, most of the time, by the time a couple says, fine, I'll do therapy. One partner has decided to leave already.
Right.
I mean, that is inevitable. Which actually does make me think of another point. And I don't have the numbers or statistics right now at the top of my head, but women are leaving marriages at a higher rate now.
Right now,
And what we have seen and what we have read is that...
Wait. So does that mean I'm a pioneer in leaving marriages?
You are.
All right.
You are.
Knowing what I want in life. Sorry.
No, that was good. That was good. What we are seeing is by the time a woman has decided to actually make the move to leave,
Yeah.
she's grieved the end of the relationship.
Yeah, I think that's very, very true.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes I think that partners are like, oh, you're just nitpicking all these little issues.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the issues that is being presented by the other partner,
Mm-hmm.
they're thematic often,
Yeah.
right? Not paying attention, not being heard, not sharing responsibilities. Oftentimes roommate dynamics or shifting into a mother parent role or father parent role versus, taking on shared responsibilities. One of my favorite books is The 80-80 Marriage.
You recommend that a lot.
I do, and I'm going to drop it in the comments. I love that book. So I'm going to drop the link in the comments so that they can definitely link to that. But it's a great book because it really does hit home as to what you and I are talking about right now too. Like
Right.
you have to be in a partnership, and sometimes your partner's going to be on top, and sometimes it's
Yeah, you want to explain a little bit what the 80-80 marriage is?
I highly recommend a book, The 80-80 Marriage.
You recommend that a lot.
Yeah, that book is by, let me just see where it is, right here. It's a personal favorite.
Okay, for listeners who aren't watching this, Nikki just pulled that book out from behind a pillow.
I did. It is by a couple. They wrote it together, Klemp and Klemp. We will link it in the description. Before the first cut, I said comments, and apparently that was wrong. So the description, it'll be linked in. But I love this book. They wrote this book as a couple, and talked about how the theory behind it is that nobody's ever functioning at 100% in a relationship, right? Really relationships aren't 50-50 either. If everybody functions or attempts to function at an 80-80 percentage in a relationship, then when one partner is only functioning at 20%, the other partner is able to carry that load.
Right.
And then that'll flip-flop at a different time, right? So there's that equal support. That's where the equal support comes in, because it's never equal.
It is never a 50-50 thing.
And so I love this book. Highly recommend it to couples, for sure.
Do you have any other resources, such as Esther Perel?
Yeah, Esther Perel has tons of stuff out there. Also, we'll link that in the description. Our producer hates us. She has great YouTube videos, TED Talks, and books out there about marriage and relationships. Another good one, I believe it's by Sue Johnson, is Hold Me Tight.
That is my favorite.
Yeah. I really, really like that book as a resource when looking at relationships.
Any information from the Gottman Institute?
Yep, that's another one.
They're very, very skilled at talking about couple relationship skills. And so I would definitely recommend searching them out. They have books, they have a website, they have all sorts of...
They have some apps, too.
They have apps,
like,
too.
Where you can
That's
do
true.
questions with each other. And there's also that really great app, the Paired app.
Yes.
I love that app.
Yes.
It's really fun. And that, it does cost, I think it's $39.99 a year. But it's really fun. You answer questions, and then your partner gets a ping, and they have to answer the questions, and then they compare them together. So that's a really cool app as well. That's pretty enjoyable for couples and relationships.
And this is, I mean, the resources we just gave you are about, like, maintaining relationships, and that is always important if that's something that's of interest to you. Wondering about maybe some concrete supports that people can access if they're grieving an ending.
Crawl in your bed and just cry.
What was some of our tried and true? Do you know what I remember?
What?
It's when Matt and I decided to get divorced. And I called you.
Yeah.
I was really upset because you were gone that weekend.
I was gone that weekend at a wedding, ironically.
You were at a wedding.
They're divorced too now.
Yes. And I came over with noodles and company.
Yes.
And wine. And we both crawled in your bed and ate pasta, drank wine, and cried and laughed. So I would definitely say rely on close people that you trust love, and who can support you in your sadness and help you find the funny.
And also who aren't judging you.
Yes.
I think there are people that will make judgments about relationships in your relationship, and they're not in it, so they don't get to make those judgments or decisions.
I think that's a really good point.
So make sure it's a very safe human.
Yeah. You're my safe human.
You're my safe human too.
Thanks.
Yeah, but that is a go-to. Really starting, I think a big one for me was focusing in on what I wanted in a relationship, and looking at personal goals as well.
You actually do thrive on predictability, consistency, and having goals. So when you have goals that you work towards, that is when you feel like you can start making movements forward. I have known that about you. And there are plenty of people out there that is their motivator, right?
Correct. It might not be for everybody. Sarah did tell me this year, she's like, yeah, just because you're not taking over the world this year, that's okay.
I did tell you that.
You did.
It's okay.
I felt stuck. And she's like, you've done a lot, but you don't take over the world every year, Nikki.
That's right. Some years can just not be that.
But that might work for some people. That might not work. Sometimes just simply socializing, getting out there, going out with friends, joining a gym, exercising, really searching for maybe what your hobbies are, because oftentimes we will lose ourselves in relationships too. And so
that is a really good point to bring up. There is an element of trying to find yourself again. And who you want to grow into. Because we do tend to meld and shape with our partner.
Yes.
And that is not a bad thing. There's a lot of science that supports sort of a mirroring of things, as long as you don't lose yourself in it. But needing and loving your partner and wanting to do similar things is not codependency, and that could be a whole other other topic. But it is a good opportunity to rediscover who you are, who you want to be, and where you want to go.
Absolutely. So I think those are some really nice thoughts and ideas.
Those are. I do want to make a little plug for maybe our newer therapists listening. On how to support clients who come in this way. Although I think everything that we said, or please take all those pieces. Just remember that our job as therapists is actually not to fix it.
Nope, or tell them to leave or anything like that. That's not what we do.
That is outside of our scope. That's outside of our lane. We do not get to make judgment calls about what a client should and should not do. We can help them structure their wants and needs, help them try to find and identify what it is that they want. But our job is to create a space, a safe space for them to grieve, to cry, to be angry, to say the things that they want and need to say. It is, as therapists, we really always want to fix the problem. And sometimes as a third party, looking at the situation, we may be able to see things a little bit more clearly that our client can, but it is still not our job to tell them what they have to or should do. We support them in a non-judgmental way. We can give them resources, remind them about taking care of self, but don't tell them what to do.
Don't tell them what to do. So with that being said, Sarah, I think we had a phenomenal episode on relationships. We are going to jump into parenting. You're going to start off with a funny story. Well, maybe not so funny, but it is funny now. But not at the time. Next episode.
Absolutely.
So just remember, you can be a hot mess
and still have it all together.
We will see you next time on Hot Mess Therapist.